Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of my video on OSA stats, also known as points. Every attacker has a stat. Every OSA office in every org and mission has a list of every attacker's stats within that region. So, in my last video, I explained what counts towards your stat. So, in this part, I will cover number of attacks predicted and reported, plus who's found by approved estimate or evaluation. And a who is a person. I don't know, it's like he's the fucking Grinch or something, trying to find who's and shit. Anyway, reference dispatch regarding new stat, OSA Network Order 42, Intelligence, its role. OSA Network Order 35, Intelligence, Estimations, and Predictions. HCO Policy Letter 17, February 1966, Public Investigation Section. And Advice 28 March 1972, Intelligence Principles. This stat is a weekly point value for the total number of threatened attacks found by defensive, minus points for any unpredicted attack or any attack which has been predicted, which then goes unhandled and occurs despite the prediction. The stat is not accumulative. The points are valued as follows. Local attack, 1 point. Regional attack, 5 points. National attack, 10 points. These are stats that are added to your attack essentially every week. An unpredicted attack or unhandled predicted attack counts minus 10 times the above point value. Now, these points that I mentioned are counted against the investigator or OSA office, or essentially anyone who's trying to handle you as an attacker. Anyway, an attack is defined per the definitions of an attack as covered under the U-Attack statistic, the ones I read off in my last video. A bonus of 10 points is given for any who found by AVC approved evaluation, and 5 points for a who found by approved estimate. As can be seen, for a prediction to be viable, it must be predicted in sufficient time to handle the matter before it becomes a full-blown attack, and a handling must be worked out and exchanged. The actual handling may be executed by support unit, staff security subunit, HCO, which is Hubbard Communications Office, Department of INR, legal office, or PR office, but the defensive unit is responsible for ensuring that the prediction product is actually of quality and exchangeable and utilized to beneficial result of preventing the attack. To be counted, the prediction must be reported in writing in some manner to the proper publics who should know and or act on the data, which reporting may even be in the form of a stat breakdown if it is clearly communicated in an exchangeable manner with sufficient time, place, form, and event to be understood. The stat reflects external prediction as well as internal prediction lines. Internal prediction activities must be aligned with the purpose and function of the Office of Special Affairs and Departments of Special Affairs, which are external-facing units. It is the Staff Security Subunit that monitors the prediction and handling of matters which interface between internal and external. The Department of Special Affairs is interested in matters which, if not handled, could result in external attacks different from security situations which are simply an HCO matter. For example, a PTS Type A situation which just needs to get a standard handling and would concern us only if there are enemy connections or indicators of something that will turn into an external attack unless handled. Whereas a PTS-C found on lines would of course be of interest to us. Valid staff security matters include such things as detection and handling of enemy infiltration, detection and handling of the source of external influences preying on the backs of orgs, etc. Key references on staff security functions and duties and areas of prediction activity which would validly be represented on the Who Attacks F stat and which delineate matters which are the hat and function of HCOs are SPD 2 October 1988 Organizational Security, SOED 4234 HCO and OSA Coordination on Security and Investigation Matters, OSA Network Order 42 Intelligence, its role, OSA Network Order 64 Rundown on Intelligence, HCO Policy Letter 21 April 1970 Field Ethics. Also here, number of outstanding threats, guard stat, reference advice 16 February 1982, new stat. This stat is a guard stat and is the total outstanding threats. This would cover any predicted attack about which information has been received. Once the threat is handled, it comes off the stat. Number of outstanding security threats, guard stat, referencing advice 16 February 1982, new stat. This stat measures the total amount of outstanding security threats and risks and is an upside down graph with 0 at the top. A security situation for OSA DSA is as defined under the Who Attacks Found stat. Number of threats seen, threatened, or reported, reference advice 16 February 1982, new stat. Per the above listed advice, this stat shows the amount of security threats that are found and reported. A security situation for OSA DSA is defined under the Who Attacks Found stat. Number of threats handled, again referencing advice 16 February 1982, new stat. Per the above listed advice, this stat shows the amount of threats that are handled. Complaints acted upon. Reference HCO Policy Letter 17, February 1966, Public Investigation Section. This stats measures the number of complaints against attackers that were acted upon by authorities. This is defined as the number of complaints filed with anyone who is in a position of authority and acts upon the complaint and thus impinges on an attacker. Ergo, judicial, governmental, civil, employer, landlord, etc. Each time the complaint is acted on, counts 1, not cumulative. They complain about you. If you get kicked out of your fucking apartment, ooh, Scientology wins. Number of opposition advantages lost. Reference HCO Policy Letter 16, February 1969, Issue 2, Battle Tactics. This stat measures the advantages of opposition which were lost due to the application of standard investigation tech. Total number of disadvantages lost by the opposition that week as a direct or indirect result of investigation action. See the above HCO Policy Letter for a description of the type of activities that would count on this stat, not cumulative. Final point. Documented evidence obtained and used. Referencing HCO Policy Letter 17, February 1966, Public Investigation Section. Also referencing Advice 8 June 1973, Intelligence, its role. This stat measures the evidence that has been obtained against attackers and was put to use. Documented evidence obtained that indicates a crime or usable evidence regarding a who or an opposition terminal, and is deemed usable by counsel, PR, or legal. This stat is counted on the basis of 1 point for each evidence of a crime documented, deemed usable by counsel, PR, or legal. A 5-point bonus is given for each piece of documented evidence that is used by counsel, PR, or legal. If the data contained in the documented evidence is used, it can still be counted as a doc ev, whether the actual document is used or only the data, not cumulative. I'm worth a lot of points. Oh well, fuck you, sci-fags.